ever looked at your priest and wondered what is their life beyond the altar, their journey to the altar and after that? Today I am here with two young men on the eve of their ordination to have a little chat.
Hi, I'm Deacon Nelson Mudaliar. Presently, I am engaged in social work in a rural setup. I will be ordained on the 19th of December 2020 at the shrine of Don Bosco's Madonna.
Hi, I'm Deacon Akhil Abraham and I'm due for my ordination on the 26th of December 2020 at Christ the King Church, Pune. At present, I am working with the young at risk at Don Bosco Shelter, Vadala.
So both of you guys are very close to your ordination dates. What are some of the thoughts running in your mind? Are you all nervous, excited?
Nervous? Yes, I'm very nervous because it has been a day I've been longing for from 13 years, 13 years since I left home and now this day is coming close. So excited, but yeah, nervous.
Like, it's a day for which we have been preparing a long time. And it's not just us, family, friends, youth, they are also as excited as us.
So how did your friends and family react when you first told them that you want to join the priesthood?
My family was very happy and they were quite supportive too. But when it came to friends, like when they came to know that I'd be joining the seminary, I noticed some change in them. Like very less use of bad words. I would put it like they behaved themselves in front of me.
For me, this thought of becoming a priest came when I was in the 7th grade. And at that time, I just shared with my parents that yes, I want to be a priest. But then after that, 3 years, 8th, 9th and 10th, I had my fun, enjoyed life. And then after 10th, I said, yes, I would love to go and become a priest. My parents were a bit sad, but then, afterwards, they were quite cool with it and they were very supportive. Friends, I lost many of them, especially my school friends. But thanks to social media, I was able to get in touch with most of them. And yeah, the number has become less. Not that it have all the friends of the world, but you have friends who can share with you, who share their careers, their life aspirations, and they seek advice.
So your friends are fewer, but the connections are way richer and deeper. Why did you all choose to be Salesians?
Honestly speaking, when I joined the aspirantate in Lonavala, I did not know the difference between diocesans and religious. I did not know who the Salesians were.
I think most of us are confused about that fact.
Oh yeah. So gradually being with them, living the life and seeing what works they are doing, I came to realize that the Salesians were very close to the people, especially the youth, and very close to the culture, especially in the missions. And it is there that I realized that this is where I want to be. This is who I want to be. And I believe that as the Salesians and with the Salesians, I can reach out to the largest number of people.
For me, it is my interactions with Salesians. The place where I stay, you can call it mini Vatican because, you look anywhere, any side, you'll find a congregation, be it brothers, fathers or sisters. But after my 10th, a friend and I would go and play basketball at Don Bosco Yervada. And there is where a priest, Father Manuel Murzello, he would come and play with us. And that is what took me, like, how can a priest come and play? All this while, a priest is like, okay, fine, you're a priest, I'm a boy, distance. But the fact that this priest came and played with us basketball, that is what, blew my mind. And another priest I met, Father John Gonzalez, who was playing the guitar. And that is where I said, yes, I want to be like them. And then that is what drove me to choose Salesians.
Do you feel like you'll have missed out on anything because you'll have chosen this way of life?
Yes, I have missed out on college life. That bunking class, sleeping in class, chatting with friends, going out, having fun. Yes, that is what I've missed, as a teenager, as a young boy. But after joining Salesians, I've realized this life is fulfilling. It is, it is fun to be with Salesians, and you have a good experience over here?
For me, missed out in the sense, I would just put that night out with friends, sitting down with them, talking, like chilling the whole night out. Like I would say only that I missed out. But as he said, Salesian life is really fun, especially when you have the right idea of fun.
So, in all your years of training, did you all have any challenges on the way or second thoughts on your journey to priesthood?
For me, the biggest challenge was to find out to which form of ministry I am called to. Like I have a plethora of options in front of me, and to see where I would fit in to do the maximum and reach out to the max number of people. And then I had that fire to work with people in the beginning as I joined. And then we were told, no, you sit down, study, prepare yourself. No, that was a bit discouraging. And I would see at that moment, till now and also in the future, we need to have a good support system who can hold you when you are facing like these challenges. For me, that support system consisted of personal prayer, time spent in prayer, a good spiritual director to whom you can speak to, who guides you, who helps you out, and a good set of friends. That really helps you because they are with you at all the time. If you have some problems, you can just pick up a phone and then speak to them. So good support system is what helps you during your challenging moments.
For me, challenges were plenty, a lot of challenges, lot of thoughts, doubts. But the fact you have a spiritual director, that is what helped me the most, because during my novitiate, we have a novice master who will be with you throughout the year, and every month you get a chance to meet him, share your life with him. And that is where I learnt about myself, I learnt about my weaknesses, I learnt about my strengths. And he was the one who gave me directions in life and in seeing meaning of, why God is calling you to be a priest.
So, most of us experience a generation gap with our parents. Do y'all also experience a generation gap with priests?
Definitely yes, because we have so many communities and so many Salesians where we are working with. We do find a generation gap, but in the sense, in our experience, we find Salesians are very good to us, so that effectiveness of the generation gap reduces. And as I said earlier, if you have a good set of friendship, these things don't worry us.
There are Salesians who are senior, and we are just young fellows joining the congregation. But when you look at them, they have, a lot of experiences. When you share with them, you talk to them, they share their experience, and that is what you get to learn. What I see is, though they are senior, they still have that youthful vigor in them. They are still young, and they still want to work with the young.
So, you all spent several years in training to become priests, and during this time, you'll get transferred frequently. It must be really difficult if you get attached to people and places. So, are you all trained for these transfers or to move frequently?
It is difficult, yes, and we don't get specific training as in classes like how to deal with it. But in a sense, our formation prepares us. Like we have pre-novitiate in one place, then we go for philosophy in another place, then our practical training or regency years in different places, and then we move on to theology. So we are trained in this whole setup how to deal with it. Plus also moving away from one place to another doesn't mean that we lose those people or we lose friendship. Those who are really close to us, they are with us, thanks to the technology for today.
Letting go is a challenge for every Salesian, to move from one place to another after doing a lot of work. But then that moving or that transfer, for example, I was transferred for my regency, all the 3 years. But all the 3 years I met different people, I made new friends, I got to learn a lot from people's experiences, and that is what enriched my life today as a Salesian.
I'll just add on to him. There are two dangers here, when you're getting transferred frequently, maybe 3 years, 6 years or so. One danger is to become hard-hearted. It's not like that once we leave the place, we just tell, okay, it's enough, we're done with you. It's not like that. We stay in touch with people because of the relationships that we have found. And the second thing will be that we know we are there for 3 years, 6 years or so. And that also doesn't prevent us from doing our best or forming or building good relationships.
Also, you all work with several students and people. How difficult is it to be loving yet strict while exercising authority?
Initially, it is very difficult because when you are transferred to a new place, you get a new set of youngsters, a new set of students to work with, and they look up, they look to you and they say, okay, what kind of person are you? But then I would fall back to what Don Bosco said, no, it is not enough to love the youngsters, but they must know that they are loved. The fact you can share your love with them, you build that rapport as soon as, as fast as you can, and then you become friends very easily.
He is right over there. Like, moving from a place of genuine love and being kind, and most importantly, being patient.
How do you think your life will change once you'll get ordained as priest?
The transition from being a brother to a father is scary. But I look at this in a different way. I want to be that fun-loving Akhil. I want to be that youthful Akhil after being ordained a priest. And that is my wish and prayer, after my ordination, that I still be that Akhil as a brother and now as a priest.
That constant struggle will be there, like people's expectation of a priest, and it is I myself who I know deep down who I really am. Change in the sense I wouldn't see much change. Oh yes, we will get the gift and the grace to celebrate Holy Eucharist, be able to hear confessions and help people. But deep down, we will be still those constantly striving good human beings who are Christians, living life specifically as a Salesian and now as a priest.
So what are some of the bizarre expectations or stereotypes people have of priests? You've mentioned expectations, but can you elaborate on that further?
I would put it as bizarre expectation of people, like they want a priest who will be very rigid, who knows all the rules and will stick by it, who can quote scriptures left, right and center. I know it is a gift, but we don't expect every priest to have that as such.
It is how a priest develops a style of preaching, how he brings the word of God alive to his people in his own way, in his own style.
Also, do you think because of these stereotypes and expectations that most youth are hesitant to join the priesthood?
There are youth who have an image of priest of just being holy, and that's what they think a priest means, to be sanctus. But yes, a priest ought to be holy. At the same time, he also can be fun-loving. So both these aspects are there in priesthood. But what discourages them most is a factor of the media portraying the negative things of a priest. They highlight the negative aspects and they shun down the positive things in the life of a priest.
Another thing that discourages the youth is this wrong sense of freedom. Like we also youth have had this wrong idea of freedom, and many youth believe that when they join the seminary to become priests or religious, then they will lose out on all this freedom. But if we get the true sense of freedom, we see there is a lot of freedom in being priests and religious, in what we can do, in what sense we can help out to reach out to the max number of people. Also in our experiences with the youth, we have found that many of the youth have negative experiences with priests who are very rigid, stuck to the rules and regulations. So that also reminds us that we as priests have to be more loving, more caring, more understanding towards others.
When it comes to certain issues like LGBTQ rights, gender rights, abortion, contraception, most youth today don't have views that conform completely to that of the church. So while interacting with these young people, how will your explanation of the church's doctrine change?
See, in this situation, we need to draw a balance between information and the experience of the people. The church has its doctrines, rules and regulations taken out from the scriptures. So this whole thing becomes information, what we are handed down. Equally important, and what is really important, is the experience of the people, the situation they are in, the emotions that they go through. I would say what is important for us here is to be with them, feel the emotions in that particular situation. And if we do that, we will really do what the scriptures, what the church really tells us to do.
The most important thing for us is to have an understanding heart and understand the person's experience and being able to empathize with him. We've got to be person-centered in dealing with such issues.
So if there was one kind of change or reform that you would like to see in the church, what would that be?
One of the major reform we as priests would love to see is priests leaving their roles, their positions, and being there for the people, working with them and working for them.
A major reform for me would be, right now we as priests are very rigid and we are trying to give answers to people for their well-being. A major reform for me would be like, we as priests, the whole church together with the people, we form the conscience of the people so that they can make the correct choice or they can make the right decisions for their life in line with what Jesus is telling us to do.
So Deacon Nelson, you're a choreographer and a dancer, and Deacon Akhil, you're a really good musician. So after you'll get ordained as priest, will you continue pursuing your passions?
I don't think I'll stop dancing. In fact, my brother is getting married a week after my ordination, and I'm already working on a dance for the occasion. And if things fall into place, I'll dance too.
It was my dream to be a musician and to have a rock band of my own. Though I can't fulfill this dream, but at the place where I'm working with the young at risk, I wish to fulfill this dream with those kids. So I wish to begin a band with them and fulfill this dream of having a rock band with them.
This has been a really fun chat and has given us great insights into a life of a priest. I wish you all the best on this very exciting journey leading to your priesthood and beyond that.
Oh yes, thanks, and do pray for us.
And we assure you of our prayers.